6492. What is the maximum time period during which a may use an ATC transponder after it has been tested and inspected? A. 12 calendar months. B. 24 calendar months. C. 36 calendar months. The correct answer is B. An ATC, air traffic control, transponder is an essential piece of equipment installed in an aircraft that helps facilitate communication and surveillance between the aircraft and air traffic control facilities. To ensure the proper functioning and accuracy of the transponder, regulatory authorities have established testing and inspection requirements. After an ATC transponder has been tested and inspected, it is considered to be in compliance with the applicable regulations. The maximum time period during which the transponder can be used without the need for retesting and inspection is 24 calendar months. In other words, once the transponder has passed the required tests and inspections, it is valid for a period of 24 months. At the end of this 24-month period, it becomes necessary to repeat the testing and inspection process to ensure that the transponder continues to meet the regulatory standards and functions correctly. This periodic testing and inspection help maintain the reliability, accuracy, and compliance of the transponder's transmitted data. It's important to note that the specific time period for transponder testing and inspection can vary depending on the regulatory requirements of the country or region in which the aircraft operates. Some authorities may have different time frames, but the common practice is a maximum validity of 24 calendar months. Pilots and aircraft operators should be aware of the expiration date of the transponder's testing and inspection to ensure compliance with the regulations. Regular maintenance and record keeping are essential to track the expiration date and ensure that the transponder is always within its valid testing and inspection period. In summary, the maximum time period during which an ATC transponder can be used after it has been tested and inspected is 24 calendar months. This time frame ensures that the transponder remains in compliance with the regulatory standards and continues to function reliably and accurately in facilitating communication with air traffic control. 6429. A helicopter may be operated at less than the minimum safe altitudes prescribed by regulations for other aircraft if A. The operation is conducted without hazard to persons or property. B. An altitude of at least 500 feet is over other than congested areas. C. At least 500 feet is maintained above the highest obstacle within a radius of 1,000 feet. The correct answer is A. Helicopters have unique capabilities that allow them to operate at lower altitudes compared to fixed-wing aircraft. While regulations prescribe minimum safe altitudes for other aircraft, helicopters may have more flexibility in their operations if certain conditions are met. According to regulations, a helicopter may be operated at altitudes lower than the minimum safe altitudes prescribed for other aircraft if the operation can be conducted without hazard to persons or property. This means that the pilot must exercise caution and ensure that their actions do not pose a risk or danger to individuals on the ground or to any property. When operating at lower altitudes, pilots must be vigilant and maintain situational awareness to avoid hazards such as obstacles, power lines, buildings, and other aircraft. They should also consider factors like weather conditions, visibility, and the density of the surrounding population or structures. It's important to note that while helicopters may have more flexibility in operating at lower altitudes, this flexibility comes with a higher level of responsibility. Pilots must exercise good judgment and prioritize the safety of individuals on the ground and the integrity of property. In summary, a helicopter may be operated at altitudes lower than the minimum safe altitudes prescribed for other aircraft if the operation can be conducted without hazard to persons or property. This provision allows for more flexibility in helicopter operations, but it is crucial for pilots to exercise caution, maintain situational awareness, and prioritize safety at all times. 6458, which is required to operate a helicopter within Class E airspace between sunset and sunrise under Special VFR. A. The pilot must possess an instrument rating and have satisfied currency requirements. B. The helicopter must be equipped for instrument flight, and the visibility must be at least 1 mile. C. The helicopter must be operated at a that allows the pilot the opportunity to see and avoid other traffic or obstructions. The correct answer is C. When operating a helicopter within Class E airspace between sunset and sunrise under Special VFR, visual flight rules, there are specific requirements to ensure the safety of the flight. One of these requirements is that the helicopter must be operated at a speed that allows the pilot to have adequate visibility and the opportunity to see and avoid other traffic or obstructions. During the nighttime or in reduced visibility conditions, maintaining proper visual lookout becomes even more crucial. The pilot needs to have sufficient time to react to potential conflicts with other aircraft or obstacles. By operating at an appropriate speed, the pilot can ensure that they have the necessary visual perspective to detect and avoid any potential hazards in their flight path. The specific speed at which the helicopter should be operated may vary depending on factors such as the helicopter's performance capabilities, visibility conditions, and the pilot's experience and judgment. It is essential for the pilot to assess the prevailing conditions, including visibility, weather, and traffic density, to determine a safe operating speed. Operating at a speed that allows the pilot the opportunity to see and avoid other traffic or obstructions is a fundamental principle of flight safety. It enables the pilot to maintain situational awareness, make timely decisions, and take appropriate action to ensure the safety of the flight. In summary, when operating a helicopter within Class E airspace between sunset and sunrise under Special VFR, it is required to operate at a speed that allows the pilot the opportunity to see and avoid other traffic or obstructions. This ensures that the pilot maintains adequate visual lookout and can respond effectively to any potential hazards during the flight. 6459. May a helicopter operate in Class E airspace at night under Special VFR? A. Yes, regulations permit this. B. No, this is permitted for airplanes only. C. Yes, but the pilot must be instrument rated and the helicopter must instrument equipped. The correct answer is A. Helicopters are indeed allowed to operate in Class E airspace at night under Special VFR, visual flight rules, conditions. Special VFR is a provision that allows pilots to operate in controlled airspace with less than the standard VFR visibility and cloud clearance requirements. Under Special VFR, a helicopter pilot can request and receive clearance to operate in Class E airspace at night, even if the visibility or cloud clearance is below the standard VFR minimums. This is permissible as long as the pilot complies with certain conditions and obtains clearance from Air Traffic Control, ATC. While Special VFR is typically associated with operations in Class B, C, D, and E surface areas, helicopters are specifically allowed to utilize this provision in Class E airspace at night. It grants the helicopter pilot access to controlled airspace during nighttime hours, which can be beneficial for various reasons, such as avoiding certain weather conditions or accessing specific landing areas. It's important to note that while helicopters can operate in Class E airspace at night under Special VFR, the pilot must still comply with other relevant regulations and requirements. These may include maintaining communication with ATC, adhering to any altitude or route instructions, and ensuring the safety of the flight by exercising proper navigation and collision avoidance practices. In summary, regulations permit helicopters to operate in Class E airspace at night under Special VFR conditions. This provision allows helicopter pilots to access controlled airspace during nighttime hours, subject to compliance with specific conditions and obtaining clearance from ATC. 6443. What is the minimum fuel requirement for flight under VFR in a rotorcraft? Enough to fly to? A. The first point of intended landing, and to fly after that for 20 minutes at normal cruise speed. B. The first point of intended landing, and to fly after that for 30 minutes at normal cruise speed. C. The first point of intended landing, and to fly after that for 45 minutes at normal cruise speed. The correct answer is A. When operating a rotorcraft under VFR, it is essential to ensure an adequate fuel supply to complete the intended flight safely. The minimum fuel requirement is determined based on various factors, including the distance to the first point of intended landing and the additional fuel needed for contingency situations. According to regulations, when flying a rotorcraft under VFR, the minimum fuel requirement is to carry enough fuel to reach the first point of intended landing. This means having sufficient fuel to complete the planned flight up to that point. Additionally, after reaching the first point of intended landing, the pilot must also have enough fuel to continue flying for an additional 20 minutes at the normal cruise speed. This 20-minute fuel reserve is intended to provide a margin of safety and allows for unexpected delays or diversions. The specific duration of the 20-minute fuel reserve may vary depending on the rotorcraft's normal cruise speed, fuel consumption rate, and other operational considerations. It is important for the pilot to calculate and ensure an adequate fuel supply based on the specific aircraft's performance and flight conditions. By adhering to the minimum fuel requirement, pilots can maintain a sufficient fuel reserve to handle unforeseen circumstances and ensure a safe flight. It provides an important buffer to account for variables such as changes in weather conditions, air traffic control instructions, or the need to divert to an alternate landing site. In summary, when flying a rotorcraft under VFR, the minimum fuel requirement is to have enough fuel to reach the first point of intended landing and then continue flying for an additional 20 minutes at normal cruise speed. This ensures an adequate fuel reserve for contingencies and contributes to the overall safety of the flight.